I run a travel agency in South Florida with my wife, Elise. Business had been strong, so much so that Elise left her office job a year ago. I spent my days surrounded by 6 stylish women at work, often drifting into thoughts that had nothing to do with relationships. Instead, I imagined myself transformed into their version of femininity, wearing their outfits and embodying the elegance they effortlessly carried. I often found myself watching my executive assistant, Claire, as she sat at her desk in chic attire. In my mind, I imagined sitting in her place, dressed like her, taking on her role. These thoughts weren't new, they had followed me since my teenage years. I used to secretly try on my mother's clothes, but I always ended up disappointed. I never looked the way I wanted to. One time I even tried one of her dresses, but it didn't fit. I gave up trying, but the desire never really went away. Elise, my wife, is a beautiful woman. Part of what initially drew me to her was the uncanny way I could picture myself in her image. Still, I never shared these private thoughts with her or anyone. I feared losing everything I had. We've been married for 10 years. We chose not to have children, and overall, we've led a comfortable life. But a few weeks ago, I gave in to the urge to wear something from Elise's wardrobe. I picked out a pair of her undergarments, put my own clothes over them, and went about my day. The feeling was overwhelming. I felt energized, distracted, and deeply content. The next day, I tried again with a different pair. It became a habit. Since Elise had plenty of options in her drawer, I figured she wouldn't notice a few missing. She didn't, at least not right away. Then, one afternoon, Elise stopped by the office and invited Claire and Marie out for lunch. It wasn't unusual. They remained friends even after Elise left the agency. I couldn't help but admire them as they left, quietly wishing I could look the way they did. Over lunch, Elise confided that she suspected I had been taking and wearing her clothes. The women laughed, but then noticed how intently I'd been staring earlier, like I was lost in a fantasy. Jokingly, Marie asked if I might be wearing something of Elise's at that very moment. That sparked an idea. Elise suggested a playful test to confirm her suspicions. She asked Claire to call me out to the service area under the pretense that the printer was acting up. While I checked it, Claire was to take a closer look at my eyes. My naturally thick lashes often drew compliments. If they suspected I was wearing makeup, they would ask casually. Marie would then pull out her mascara and pretend to try it on me, just to see how it looked. If I agreed, it would move to the next phase. Later that day, Carmen, who wasn't supposed to be in the office at the time, would say she missed the mascara experiment and ask for a demo. If I agreed again, Claire would suggest adding lipstick. Should I go along with it, they planned to gradually increase the makeup, layer by layer, always framing it as light-hearted fun, giving compliments, and encouraging me not to wipe it off. Their goal was to see just how far I'd let it go. To my surprise, when Claire first offered, I didn't hesitate. She applied the lipstick, and the others chimed in with praise that hit all the right notes. And I, wrapped up in the moment, listened to every word. Before long, I was seated in a chair while the team applied a full face of makeup and finished with a spray of perfume. I felt elated. That moment confirmed all of Elise's suspicions. Claire called to update her on the progress, but Elise didn't rush over to see for herself. Instead, she encouraged them to keep going and test how far I'd go. No one could predict it, but Elise assumed this transformation would take a few days. The staff had other plans, especially after they saw how thrilled I was with the makeover. By 10:30 the next morning, everything had changed. I was at my desk, now in high heels, a skirt, and a wig. Claire called Elise again. "She's here," she said. Wearing the skirt, heels, even making coffee for everyone. It happened fast. Elise was shocked. "Already?" she asked. "Yesterday, I only joked about bringing in a skirt." Claire replied, "She's fully dressed up now and she's loving it. She even asked if we could switch roles so she could be my secretary. Everyone now calls her Andrea or Mrs. Johnson. She's embracing it." Elise said she had a better idea. Carmen would watch the parking lot and, when Elise arrived, yell loudly to warn everyone. That would leave Andrea with no time to change, forcing her either to sneak out quickly or hide. Donna was tasked with taking Andrea to the ladies' room under the assumption that Elise would only stop by briefly. But Elise planned to head straight there. Andrea would have no choice but to hide in a stall. "I love this," Claire said, thrilled. "Donna will show you to the stall next to hers. She'll be panicking." Elise continued, "In a few minutes, Carmen will go in and tell Andrea they need to leave the building or risk being caught. Carmen's role is to reassure her that she can pass in public. Judging by how enthusiastic my husband's been, that won't take much." Claire asked, "Are you going to confront her in public?" "No," Elise said. "That could backfire. I've got a better idea. I'll call Delmonico's and reserve 2 booths, one for Carmen and Andrea, and another right next to it for us. Carmen will sit with her back to the door and alert Andrea when we arrive. Then they'll rush out before we can approach and head straight to the office so she can change." Claire asked where the original clothes were. "In the office, neatly folded," she said. "Perfect. We'll take them with us," Elise replied. "Carmen should tell Andrea it's safer to keep her new outfit in the office, not her car. If I decide to put my own shopping bags in her trunk, it'll seem like they had to hide the men's clothes from me. Carmen won't actually know where they are, she should keep saying they're somewhere in the office." "I'll handle the rest," Elise said. Claire was amazed. She quickly recapped the plan for Elise to confirm everything was clear. After ending the call, Elise summoned Carmen and Donna into the office. As I feared, the panic set in hard. I felt more nervous than I ever had, especially when the waiter brought Elise and her group to the booth right beside ours. Walking through the restaurant with Carmen earlier had already shaken me. I kept wondering if people noticed, or if I managed to blend in. Either way, the entire situation felt like one long, awkward scene I couldn't escape. I silently hoped I'd make it back to the office and change before Elise and the rest caught up. When I heard Elise's voice, I was frantically rifling through the file cabinets, searching for my clothes. "Looking for these." My chest tightened. For a moment, I thought I might faint. I turned around and saw Elise holding a folded pile of my clothes, my shoes neatly placed on top. Behind her, the staff stood silently, their faces a mixture of guilt and surrender. She let the bundle drop onto the floor casually. "Looks like someone's made some wardrobe upgrades," she said, eyes glancing at the shopping bags. I stammered, I've been looking for my clothes. I didn't get a chance to put the new stuff away." "I can explain." "I don't think that's necessary anymore," she said. "It's all pretty clear, don't you think?" I'm not sure what you mean," I replied, barely above a whisper. Elise walked over and began inspecting the shopping bags. "Matching sets. Oh, this is lovely. And this dress, gorgeous. You'll look stunning in it." "I can explain," was all I could manage again. Elise looked at me calmly. "At this point, there's nothing left to explain. It's obvious your old life is done." "You're divorcing me?" I asked, startled. "No," she said, with a sigh. "Since you seem to want this new path, we're just going to make it real. At home and at the office, you'll live accordingly." "She's been a great help to me," Claire chimed in. "Andrea's been a perfect secretary for the past 2 days, and she enjoyed it too." Elise smiled. "That's good to hear. So, she'll start officially on Monday?" "She'll be ready," Claire said, chuckling. "We've all noticed how eager she's been to fit in." "We're excited about our raises too," added another voice. "And the new intern starting soon." Elise looked around. "So everyone's happy, then?" "Yes," the team responded in unison. She turned to me. "And what about you, Andrea? Are you happy?" Before I could answer, Carmen jumped in. "Of course she is. She's been overjoyed since the trial run started. She practically danced when we helped her with the skirt," added Claire, laughing. "I didn't think we'd get her to go home." Elise smiled softly. "Well, that won't be a problem now. Andrea's coming home with me, time to start learning how to be a supportive wife. She looked at me and said, "Bring your new things and that dress." Carmen asked, holding up my old clothes, "What should we do with these?" Elise didn't hesitate. "Donate them. Andrea won't be needing those anymore." I whispered her name, but she gently touched her finger to my lips. "No more words," she said. "Just smile, sweetheart. Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.